One sec. Am I live? Am I live? Okay, I'm live. Hey guys. Hi, how are you? Wow, so many people. Hey guys, how's it going? Can you hear me clearly, right? Awesome. How's your weekend? How's everyone's weekend? All good? Hope everyone's weekend is going well. Everyone's relaxing at home. How was my day? My day was good. I came back yesterday from Mumbai. Back home now, settling into things, wrapping up all the work, and then Monday we get back to office. So it's gonna be fun. What about you guys? Are you guys having fun as well? Yeah. Developer Anand is like just enjoying mangoes. Yeah, man. I'm also having mangoes. Love mangoes. Is this also going to be posted on your feed? I think I save all the lives and put up on the feed. So that's fine. Yeah, that'll be there. Okay. So, I think I'll begin, right? I'm not even sure what's the time. I should surely wear a watch. I keep forgetting. No, man, I'm not a lefty. It's just I'm righty, but you can see it from the left side. Either way, awesome. So I'll tell you what I've been doing, right? From the last few days, with respecting to connecting the dots, and I'm doing all the sessions on scenes as well, right? So when we do these sessions on scenes at 4:30, I keep talking to a lot of people about the market, and we're connecting so many dots on scenes, right? So many dots on scenes. And when we do that, we keep tracking how inflation is going to affect so many things around us, just normal general things, right? So many things are getting connected, and when you look back in life is when you realize, okay, shit, I can connect so many dots. But when you look forward, you're only thinking what can happen and what might happen, right? But when we look back, we can always connect the dots, and I'm pretty sure all of you have the same logic and understanding as well. Then I realized that, okay, you know what? I have been saying connecting the dots all the time. A lot of people know it. A lot of people still don't understand what connecting the dots is. But basically, connecting the dots basically means you look at the world and try to connect everything that is there, so that, not simply for time pass, so that you can take advantage of the situation and maybe make money or whatever in the future, right? But basically, it's about connecting the dots and hopefully to move it to your advantage. Now, I did that, and I was thinking, there's one space that I had not entered till now. Right, YouTube is fine, Instagram is fine. I just came on Twitter recently. Still understanding Twitter first. So I'm a very nice stalker, right? When I go on new platforms, I first look at everything, observe how the platform's working, what's normal, what's fine, and then only I come and do something like that, right? Only then I start posting. So there's one platform that I hadn't leveraged, or there's one segment that I hadn't leveraged, and that was the podcast segment, right? Now, obviously, it's been there from a very, very long time. Nothing great in that. But then I said, you know what? I'm connecting the dots with so many people. Why not do that with more people around me? Okay, and get as much knowledge as possible for two reasons, right? Obviously, one for you guys as well, but also for my knowledge, right? So I thought, okay, you know what? Is there a way to talk to a lot of people? Gain all their knowledge, okay, talk to a lot of people, gain all their knowledge, not only for myself, but then put it out for everyone else, right? So then I realized, okay, you know what, let me do this. Anyway, the name was fixed, right? I had a very nice name. So I called this Connecting the Dots, right? The podcast is called Connecting the Dots by Shashank Gurpa. And I'm going to be interviewing a lot of entrepreneurs in the field, a lot of influencers in the field. Basically, anyone and everyone I feel have done something great in life, and they're good at connecting the dots. And that is something that I've just started. I've already interviewed a few people. I'll be rolling it out one by one for you guys as well. So don't worry about that. Yeah, but that was like the new thing that I'm thinking of doing right now. Right? Maybe it'll work, maybe it'll not work. It's not about working. There's nothing called working. It's all about getting as much gyan as possible back to the people, right? and in a nice simplified connecting the dots kind of a format. Awesome. So that is what it is. That is what the main crux of everything is. And I want to understand from you guys, right? Every time you look back in life is when you start connecting the dots, and then you try doing it in the future as well. We try doing it in the future, but it's very tough to do it in the future. But in the back, definitely. Not over Spotify. I'm just gonna do it. I mean, on YouTube. I'm gonna put it on YouTube, right? And yeah, maybe then put it on any other channel. I don't know. I'm not even thought about it yet. I've just interviewed a few people. I've interviewed a few guys in the industry. Interviewing more people. My goal is to interview at least 20-25 people. I've done 3 till now. So I'm interviewing a lot of people and getting all their secrets, not secrets, but their ideas of how they have come till now, how their journey has been in how they're working in which industry, and how they have connected the dots. And agar main wo nahi kiya hota, to I wouldn't be here right now. And that is something you should be very happy about. So I don't know where I'm gonna put it. I'm just shooting it right now. I'll mostly go on Avalon Meta Live's channel itself on YouTube. So let's see, right? Now I want to hear some stories of you guys. Okay, I want to hear some stories of you guys when you have connected the dots in the past, right? And I'm pretty sure most of you have that thing where, if you look back right now into something, you'll definitely realize, oh shit, you know what? If this was there, if that was there, I had done this. If I had not done that, I wouldn't be the man or woman I was today. A lot of things from that perspective, right? So I want to see if you guys have any connecting the dots stories today, right? The whole theme today is just connecting the dots story. A lot of people are asking me what is connecting the dots. But yeah, if anyone wants to come up and talk about connecting the dots, yeah, I'm going to interview a lot of people. It depends on who accepts my what do you call it, who accepts my podcast request. I mean, I keep asking a lot of people that give me 30-45 minutes of your time. It might help a lot of people. Yeah, so if anyone wants to come on board, come on stage or come here and then talk about their journey of connecting the dots, that would actually be something great, right? Let me see if there are some few people. This is working. Yeah. So yeah, exciting. I'm excited for this because a lot of new things coming up. Hey Anish, how are you?
Hey Shashank, I'm awesome, dude. How about you?
All good, man. All good. What about you?
Yeah, so 1 second. I just
Yeah.
settled to on this. Yeah.
No, no, it's fine. You can settle. I'll just eat my mango.
Awesome. So this
Hmm.
this story, I always liked the way you said connecting the dots, especially in the stock markets. But I also want to speak about it from the perspective of, a lot of us when we are in college, we
Yeah.
dabble with so many things. And in especially when I was in college, I'm a mechanical engineer. Okay. Now I'm managing a content development agency. So if I go back in time, your point of connecting the dots backwards makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense than connecting it forwards. In fact, there is a
Yeah.
quote by Steve Jobs. I think he told this in one of his convocation speeches in Harvard. He told exactly the same. You cannot connect the
Yeah.
dots forward. You can only do it backwards, but you
Back.
just have to
Yeah.
trust on something, karma, luck, whatever. So I relate to this quote so much. And whenever, every time you say connecting the dots, I'm like, this dude is spot on when he says connecting the dots.
Yeah, there's something that I saw, I think, in one of these, what do you call it, TV serials, right? I don't know whether you've seen this thing called Daredevil. Okay, there's this TV series called Daredevil. So over there was this quote where he says, where someone tells him this, right? They're telling nothing makes sense right now. I mean, everything won't make sense at the current moment. You can't connect the dots for the future. But if you go to the end of your life and zoom out and see your entire journey, it'll actually be a beautiful masterpiece, right?
Yeah.
Each individual's life is actually a beautiful masterpiece, designed by whatever, some higher power, or designed by something, right? And if you could go right into the future and see your entire map of design, you'll be like, wow, this is so good. But would you actually want to do that, or would you leave it to chance and not look at that great masterpiece and just see how it goes, right? So everything's connected towards the end. Till the end, it's all connected. Everyone's journey is connected somehow. People call it coincidence, but it's all connected. But it's going to be awesome, right? But the end of it, at the end of the journey, you look back and be like, wow, I had a beautiful life. Or this is great. There's so many things we did.
Yeah. It's actually true. Because whenever now I get a lot of questions, Ki Anish, You studied mechanical mechanical engineering for 4 years, 4 years,
Hmm.
but now you're into the digital space. I mean, why? What's the point of your engineering degree? My one single
Yeah.
answer to them is, if I didn't do mechanical engineering, I wouldn't be where I am now. As they go
True.
bonkers after they go bonkers after listening to that, but that's to them. But I know the meaning of that sentence.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people keep asking this question, right? If there's one thing that you could go back into the past and change, what would it be? I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't change anything because if I changed anything, that would alter what I'm doing right now. Like a
Exactly.
minute change would alter a lot of things I'm doing right now. So, jo bhi hua, good or bad things, it's great because that leads to what we are right now.
Awesome. I've taken a lot of time. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
awesome.
others are willing to speak. So thanks a lot again. Looking forward to your series.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Awesome. Bye. Okay. So I've still not figured out how to like remove you from the live, dude. Can you only exit by yourself? Beautiful. Thank you, Anish. Oh, can you remove yourself? I don't know how to do this, man. I'm scared I'll entirely shut off the entire
Yeah,
stream
yeah.
by
I'll
mistake.
go off. I'll go off.
How do you do that, dude? There should be a way. Okay. I know there's a way, but I'm just scared if I click on that X button, it'll shut off everything, right? Now, I'll tell you what. Let me share one story with you of my connecting the dots. A lot of people keep asking me this, right? And I think yesterday or day before, when I put those few stories out, a lot of people could relate to a lot of things that's happened in life. Let me tell you one very fascinating story of 2012. That was basically my turning point in life. Okay. Now, before 2012, and 2012, I was in my first year of college, right? I was doing this thing called Bachelor's in Financial Markets. Okay, BFM. It was a new, what do you call it? It was a new course that had come out. It was called BFM. It was in Bombay in this college called SIES College. So that was what it is. And what happened was the first year, 11th, 12th, and first year of my, what do you call that, SIS college, right? I was useless in education, zero, horrible, right? I was literally the last person in the class. Why? Because I used to never like studying. I used to hate studying. And I used to be like, you know what? I don't want to study. I want to start making money. And a lot of people have this in college, right? Where they're like, my bored ho gaya. I don't want to keep reading. What is the use of this thing, right? Okay, well, learning bonds and, interest rate, inverse. I was reading a lot of things right at that point. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not used. I mean, I don't like this anymore. I just want to start making money, or I want to like relax and enjoy my life. So then, instead of going and sitting in college, I used to bunk college and go play CS 1.6 at that point. Now we have Go and Global and all that, right? At that point, it was CS 1.6 was a game. It's called Counter Strike, and that's it. Just go sit in what do you call that cyber cafe and play for like 5 or 6 hours until college gets over, and then take your bag and then walk back home, right? And then everyone thinks you've gone to college and you've done everything. My attendance at that point was 3%. Okay, three. I used to go to college every day. It's not like I should not go to college, but I should not attend the class every day. So I used to go every day, but not attend the class every day, right? That is something that I used to do, and I didn't want to like study. I didn't care about it so much. And I was very laid back in life, very very laid back. I'm like, everything will happen for a reason. Don't worry, life is good. Let me chill out and relax. Right? I used to only sit outside, go. I used to go for movies with my friends. Same old, etc., etc. But I made friends with all the smart people in my class, so they used to give me notes. Right? I was one of those guys who used to take notes from people who write it so sweetly and nicely, right? उन लोग के साथ I was very close friends. But then what happened? Exam time came, right? Exam time. See, one of my classmates also here. So exam time actually came, and I actually got a drop. There was this new rule that came out in Mumbai at that point called 80-KT rule, right? Where you can't take more than two subjects if you fail. You can't take more than two for the next semester. So I got three by mistake, and two I had planned. Okay, I literally planned two, and I knew I'll fail in two, but not in three. I planned two. And how did I plan two? Right, this was beautiful planning. My exams were going on, and I said I will only fail in two because I don't want to take three next year. So I'll fail in two, and guess how I failed in two, right? I didn't show up for the exam. I was just sleeping at home, and because I was gaming all night, so I couldn't get up in the morning for the exam. And I said, okay, according to the rules, I can take two, right? So let me just take it and go, right? But then when the results came out, I'm like, oh shit, because I got three. And that is when it hit me, right? When I got three, and obviously they said you cannot move forward and go to the next semester in your life. I said, dude, one year drop. And I'm like, so in my entire mindset was finish college as soon as possible, and go start working and try to get money as fast as possible because money solves everything. And I was like, okay, let me just do that. But what happened is I'm like, shit, one more year I have to wait now. Ek aur saal. So then I went to the principal and I asked her, you know what, can you please pass me? My mistake, my bad. Let me give the exam again. You know, sometimes they let you give the exam again. Nothing happened, man. I tried every trick in the book, tried buttering people, tried everything. Didn't work. And then the worst thing, right, after that, failing is okay. I mean, if you fail, it's not the end of the world. But the problem is, right, in especially in India, if you fail, people around you make you think it's the end of the world, right? For you, you might be like, shit, yeah, I didn't pass, right? And you might be like, you know what, this is okay, this is fine. But people around you will make you feel that this is the end of the world. Like, how can you do this? This is impossible. What is this nonsense and all that? So there was a point where I had to finally, after the point, go tell my parents that, you know what, I'm actually, I got a year drop, so I had to go tell my parents. And then I actually told my parents this story, right? My dad didn't tell anything. Okay. Now, I don't know how many of you can relate to this, but when you tell something so severe that, you know what, I got a year drop, and you get shouted at your parents, it is a known reaction, right? Imagine you tell something really bad that you've done to your parents, and your dad shouts at you. It is a known reaction. But if your dad is silent, you start thinking something else only is going on here, right? And you start feeling more guilty, you start feeling really bad, and you start thinking, why is he not telling me anything? Is he lost hope? Has he lost all hopes in me? The guilt goes deep inside, right? If yeah, the silent treatment is the worst treatment. I rather get shouted, abused a little bit also, but the silent treatment is the worst, right? Because you want a reaction, and they're like, okay. And you're like, dude, mind blown. What is okay, right? Then my dad said, let me come to your college. Let me talk to your principal. Let me see if we can do something. Principal said, no. By the way, like when we went to the principal's room, my dad was like, you know what, poor guy has failed. Can we do something so that he can pass, etc., etc. So the principal was like, when did he tell you that you actually, I mean, he actually failed, right? My dad was like, yesterday, results came out and, you got a year drop. But the actual thing was, it was 1 month ago. I was just trying not to tell my parents so I can just somehow talk to people, talk to teachers and pass, right? My dad is like, just yesterday the result came out and he got a year drop, right? And the teacher's like, no, he actually failed 1 month ago and he's not come to college in the last 1 month. He's not allowed to come to college. My dad is like, every day utke to ja raha hai. I'm like, oh shit, finished, game over. Now you're caught from all sides. Uh, and then my dad looks at me and my teacher's like, see, I could have passed him, but his attendance is 3%, right? Even if I leave the 80 KD rule aside, his attendance is at 3%. So I can't do anything at this point. And now there's two reactions I got. Okay, two reactions. Listen to this carefully. One was my dad, who just looked at me and said, I can't, there's no reaction, right? And then, when you're in this situation where you're screwed up big time, and then your mom gives you this particular look, right? That this look because as soon as you go home, you're finished, right? That you get that kind of a look, right? I can't explain that look. You just get this look, right? Dads, feel bhi samajh mein aata, okay, they're like, you know what, let's not make a scene here. Moms give you this death stare that you are finished as soon as you leave this room or leave this office and we go into what you think might be a safe environment, you are finished at that point, okay? So that happened. And then, it was a very, very massive journey because after that, okay, I had to sit at home for 1 year, right? 1 year. And by the way, guess which subject I got a year drop. Just take a wild guess which subject I got a year drop. I want to see you guys if you know this. Just guess which subject you'll be like, this is insane, right? I got a year drop on economics and statistics. Okay? Statistics and economics. Okay? Two of what I actually preach right now, right? And finance, it was finance only. Statistics, which was mathematics, yes, and economics, man. Well, obviously, I didn't fail because I didn't do a good job. I failed because I didn't give the exam as well, right? So for 1 year, my dad said, it's a small book, right? Statistics and maths, not too much because it's first year of college, right? It's not even your third year, which is the most important. It's the first year, where the principles and all are basic accountings and basic economic terminologies. And my dad is like, for next 1 year, you will read this book at least 4 to 5 times, right? You will read it, and if you finish it, you will read it again, and if you finish it again, you will read it again, and if you finish it again, you read it again, right? So this was my strategy. Okay, not strategy, but this was what my life was at that point. 5 a.m. in the morning. Okay, my dad used to wake me up, and he's like, "Get up, get ready, start reading. Statistics or economics. Take the book, start reading at 5 a.m. in the morning." And this is silent treatment. Okay, because my dad's not yelled at me yet. My mom obviously constant reminder of, "Oh my God, how did you get your drop? What will you tell people and all that." And I'm like, dude, I have bigger things to worry about as to why my dad is not telling me anything. That is more irritating, right? So he used to wake me up at 5 a.m. every morning till 8 o'clock or till 8:30. I'm supposed to read, right? 5 to 8:30 every day. I have to read those two subjects. Okay. After that, get ready. Okay. And I have to go and work with my dad in his office, right? Obviously, because he doesn't want me to sit at home all time. He's like, do something useful in life. But if you go to office, it's not that I'm going to office to work with him, right? It's to go to office and sit down and take those two books that I've read again from 5 to 8:30 and start solving the papers that were there in the past, right? Just keep doing the same thing, same thing. And what he did after that was he went and bought the books of the next semester also, right, which is second year. And he said, वैसे भी तू pass हो ही जाएगा. After that, you start doing the second year. How many of you can relate to this? Like the typical, like, I've seen a lot of people where you finish 10th standard and you have the 10th standard vacations and you already have the 11th standard books in your house. And they're like, abhi se start kar de. Right? So, no, but again, it was not that simple because my dad wanted to teach me a lesson, right? So he said, he used to go sit in his car with me, okay? And I don't know how many of you know this, how many of you are from Bombay, but you'll know this. His office was somewhere near, where's this place? Koper Kherane. Okay, I don't know how many of you know this. Koper Kherane is quite far from the city. Quite far. It's that far that you either have to take two buses or two trains to reach Koper Kherane. Okay, it was quite far. Now, my dad used to drop me to the nearest bus stop, okay, and go to the same office, but he should drop me to the nearest bus stop and say, catch your two buses and come there, right? You figure it out and come there because I don't want you to feel that you're entitled to anything. So you need to learn everything by yourself and, get everything by yourself. So he actually used to drop me to the bus stop, okay? I'm in Chembur, right? So from Chembur to Vashi, okay, I don't know how many of you are from Bombay, but the Bombay guys will relate. Chembur to Vashi, the first bus. Vashi station bus stop, I had to change a bus and catch the next bus to Koper Kherane. Right? This was what I should do. And after reaching Koper Kherane, the office wasn't right there. Right? It was a 10-minute walk to my dad's office. And this was something I should do every day. And when I used to come back, obviously I couldn't come in a bus again because when you come back, right, it's more difficult to come by bus because you have to again walk 10, go to Koper Kherane bus stop, but the buses are less. So while coming back, I used to come by train. Okay, now the train again, it's not one train. From where's that Gansoli station, I think I has to come to Vashi. From Vashi, change to the Chembur line, come to Chembur station, walk from Chembur station back home, which is another 10 minutes. This was every day, right? And that put me down, as in just threw me back to earth, right? Because till then, I was like, you know what, who cares? Education's useless, studying is so stupid. Everything will work out in life. We'll figure something out. I didn't know how hard life was. Why? Because, your parents are taking care of you, you're pampered, you have a house to live in. You wouldn't know all that, right? But my dad actually made me realize, without shouting at me, made me realize how difficult it is, how difficult real life is, and how you need to make your own stuff in life, right? And 1 year, no college. Okay, so I used to sit at home, read, do the same thing, come back. This went on for a year, which was my, punishment period. And then, this is the worst part, right? Next year, okay, I go to college and I go sit in the same year, right? Because I didn't move to the next year. All my friends have gone to the next year, and I'm still sitting in the same year. Okay. Now, all the new guys who have come in year one, they thought either I'm a new student who's just enrolled in this class. Okay. Nobody knew I had flunked a year. Okay. So they all thought I'm a new student. So they're like, "Acha, ye kaun sa hai naya aadmi?" And then obviously when you have really good friends, you know what the first thing they do? It's not support you, right? Really good friends, okay, you know what they do? They actually come and make fun of you, right? So my friends from the second year came into the first year class where I was sitting silently so that nobody sees me. So they should come and be like, "Kya hua? Drop lag gaya kya? Wapas, you're sitting one more year, wapas padega kya?" This and that. I'm like, oh shit, man. Like everyone's gone 1 year ahead and I'm still sitting there with a new bunch of people and I've never met these guys at all, right? And then what happened? Okay, immediately, now listen to this. Then what happened? After that, I started taking it very seriously. I started studying really well. Actually, I mean, I was always smart, but I never used that brain or potential to good use, right? And what happened is, I should do so well that I should come in the top 5, top 10 all the time, each semester. There's 4 more semesters. And at that point, in year one, my average was around 45%. 45% was my aggregate. Okay, 45%. And the next 4 semesters, I ensured that I got at least about 65 to 70% to make up for that average. First 2 semesters, I think a lot of people in my college thought that I was leaking the papers because they're like, how can he be smart? He just failed right now. He can't be smart at all, right? And then suddenly I'm just like, you know what? I don't care right now. I need to focus on what I have to do. Uh, do it. And I'll tell you one more funny incident, right? This whole year, this was 2012, okay, because that was the year I changed as a person and became very serious about doing something in life. Um, so 2012 that happened, and then my dad said, "Look, you did commerce. Okay, first of all, you didn't become an engineer, so that was a big bad thing for my dad because he was an engineer, and I'm like, मेरे को नहीं समझ में आता. I'm good with numbers, but I'm not good with bio and chem, right? Like I'm good with numbers, but I could never balance that chemistry equation. Never. I don't know why. The simple chemistry equation, put 2 here, put 3 here, put 4 here, I couldn't do that at all, right? Even bio, I didn't understand at all. So when I did this, my dad was like, okay, if you're doing finance, the only thing that is you'll make a lot of money in life and be stable, secure, is if you become a CA. CA also I couldn't do, right? Then my dad is like, chalo, CA you can't do. You obviously can't just do BFM. Do one thing, try to do CAT. Okay, try to get into IIM Ahmedabad or IIM Bangalore or IIMs, right? Just try to get into IIM. And my dad is like, I don't care if it's A, B, or C. Just get into any IIM possible because at the end of the day, if you look at what people do today, they don't say I'm from IIM Ahmedabad or Bangalore or Calcutta. You know what they say? Oh, that guy's from IIM. It can be the worst IIM there, but people just come and say I'm an IIM guy, right? I'm graduate. So my dad said, do this, give this CAT exam, and maybe if you get good score, right, you'll get into any of the IIM. Even if you get into the worst IIM, it's fine, it's okay because it's still considered a good thing. I said, cool. You know, till now I've been getting 65, 70%. I actually studied very hard again for CAT. And what is CAT again? Right? CAT is analytical thinking with a lot of quantitative problems. Okay, qualitative is there, but also again, a lot of statistics, a lot of maths, a lot of problem solving. Right? Each and everything was a problem solving situation. Now, very difficult, huh? Don't trust me, it's not that easy. I went to give the CAT exam. I learned it for a year. Went to give the CAT exam. I got how much? I'll tell you it. I got 88 percentile. Okay, 88 percentile. In my life, I've never got above 75. I got 88 percentile. Okay, I come out of that exam. I get my results, and I'm very happy. I'm grinning. I'm like 88 percentile. What a beautiful marks, right? I mean, I was like 88 percentile means I'm better than so many people. So many people in India and who's given CAT this year. But then I realized that 88% was quite useless because the CAT cutoff was 99.7, 99.6, 99. The lowest IIM cutoff that year was 92%, right? And the IIM cutoff was 99%. And I'm like, shit, I thought 88 was good, but people are getting 99.9 and something like that, right? I said, boss, CAT is also out of the picture. IIM is not in my life, is not in my story. Yeah, exactly, right? A lot of people are saying 88 percentile won't get you anything. I didn't realize that before, right? I thought 88 was great. But again, see how everything plays, right? That 1 year I learned CAT, right? Which was a lot of analytical thinking, a lot of problem solving, a lot of mathematics, a lot of stats. And at this point, I was not investing in the stock market, right? Till now, I have not got exposed to it. I got exposed to it once in 2012, but after that, I never touched the stock market. Till now, I don't even know what's happening in the stock market world, right? All this happened. Then my dad said, you know what? CAT also didn't happen. IIM also didn't happen. CA also didn't happen. The only last option is for you to go abroad, right? Because you cannot sit with just a BCom kind of a degree. You have to go abroad. I said, okay. Then to go abroad, my dad is like, but you need to get the. So my dad is this guy who will always be like, you should only go on your merit. Okay, no donation and all that. Only merit. Just work hard. If you get it, I'll help you. Even if he has connections, he won't let me go into that college, right? So my dad said, chalo, abhi do one thing. Go give GMAT. I don't know how many of you have heard GMAT, but GMAT is another exam that you give to go abroad, right? Especially to UK. And why I chose UK over US, very strategic, right? I chose UK because in UK you can finish your master in 1 year, right? Whereas in US you have to go do education for 2 years. And I said I already lost 1 year in the past, so if I go to masters for 1 year, I'll be back on track with everyone, right? So I said, okay, let me go to UK, but I have to give this exam called GMAT. And at that time, I had this favorite college that I wanted to go that was called Cass Business School. Okay, City University of London, Cass Business School in London. Very difficult. It was in the top 25 in the world. Okay, I said, chalo, let me give this. Abhi maine, I've given CAT exam also, IIM exam. What is GMAT? I'm assuming it's easy, right? I started giving GMAT. I gave it first time. I got 650 score in GMAT. 650 score out of 800. So you might think it's great, but again, it's as equal to 88% in IIM. Okay, it's not great at all. You should be minimum at least 700 above. Right? I got 650. What is GMAT again? Same like CAT. Okay, again it's analytical thinking. Again it is problem solving. I did that again for 1 year. Okay, to learn GMAT and give that exam. See how many problem solving situations I put in, right? Then I got 650, and the college said, you know what, we will take you if you get 700. I said okay. I gave GMAT again. Okay, I gave GMAT for the second time. And when I gave GMAT for the second time and I wanted 700, I got 680. Right? And I said, dude, I cannot do this again. Like, I'm tired. By the way, GMAT takes a lot out of you, right? These exams, it's not that easy. It takes a lot of preparation, sitting all night, understanding it. I don't know that I can't do this. Let me just apply to a lot of. And by the way, what is my overall BCom percentage? Exactly 60% because I screwed up in my first year. Right? If I had not screwed up in my first year, I would be at around 70, right? So then what I did was I said, you know what, Dad, let me just apply to a lot of people, a lot of colleges abroad. If I get in, great, on my merit. If I don't get in, pointless, right? It's done. So when you apply abroad, there is something known as SOP. Okay, you have to submit this statement of purpose, right? Why should I come to your college? Why should you take me into your college, right? And I have to tell them why I'm so good. So that I could do, right? I made a nice document. I got a lot of people to write good recommendations for me, saying that this is a very brilliant fellow, nice fellow, and all that. Because obviously I am no CA, no IIM, no nothing. Now I have the only option is to go abroad. Then finally I went abroad. Okay, yeah, statement of purpose. I finished all of that, went abroad, okay. And then when I went there, my dad only gave me one rule. He's like, I will only send you abroad if you promise me you will get distinction and when you come back. Distinction basically in UK is around 70% overall. You need to get 70, and it's very difficult to get distinction. It's not an easy task there, right? India, 70% is very easy, but there it's very difficult because there is no syllabus over there. There is no textbook, right? It is all you have to read by yourself. The world is your textbook. Okay, we will ask you a question and you have to reply to that answer, and the world is your textbook. That's it. That's how they teach you in UK, right? There is no fixed rule or storybook kind of a thing. So my dad said you have to get distinction, do whatever it takes. Okay, and he had this strict policy that you will not go and work there. Okay, you don't have to work there. And that is when I went abroad, started studying. Very difficult. First of all, it was very difficult to understand that English because it's slightly different. It takes some time to get used to it, and then it's bloody cold in UK, so that also takes some time to get used to it. Finished all of that, and then I think in the last 2 months I was at home. I mean, in the last 2 months there's no college anymore. It's only you sitting in your dorm room and chilling. So I got really bored after that, and I said, you know what? Let me do something useful in life. Let me go work somewhere. Okay. And I went to work in this Indian restaurant as a waiter. Okay. Now, not because money was great, obviously that was not an issue, but money was good. But also I was like, instead of me sitting down and just wasting time in my room, let me go learn something or let me do something, right? Because studies to anyway I'm sorted. So then I met this guy called Alok in UK, and I asked him, can I join? He's like, what is your experience in waiting tables? I said, nothing. I have no experience in waiting tables, but I'm a master's graduate, so that means I must have some brains. So whatever you give me, I'll learn quickly, right? Whatever it is, I'll learn quickly. He said, okay, cool. So then but his restaurant was not where I was. I was in Glasgow. His restaurant was in this place called Edinburgh, right? So then I shifted to Edinburgh. There was another friend of mine called Shamaran who was there. I actually went and bunked in his room, like me and him were staying together. He was also working. So he used to get up in the morning at 10 a.m. and go to work, which was again in a restaurant. I used to start my work only at 6 p.m. So in the morning, I should do my project, 6 p.m. work, till 11 p.m. I used to work and come back every day for 2 months. right? It was not because I wanted money or something. Money was okay, it was fine. But that experience, that 2 months of experience that I got, right? And you know what it teaches you? It teaches you to be bloody humble. Right? It's not about money. It's not about anything else. It it really shows you a very different perspective in life. It really shows you because uh, I was dealing with different kind of people from different parts of the world, right? How they treat you, how you treat them, how when they shout at you or you do something wrong, right? How do you still smile and take it, right? If someone shouts at you, you'll be like, no problem, sorry. You can't have ego, right? It shoots your ego down. And you see a very different perspective in life. And all these things added up, right? And then I came back, I finished my master's, came back to India, and my dad said, okay, now what will you do? Get a job, go get a job somewhere. You can't work in my company because if you work in my company, you'll again become entitled and lazy. I want you to go out, get a job under someone else, and get abused and work under them and know how it is to actually work, right? See how office politics is, how office politics happens. See how you'll get abused. Mental, right? It's mental, right? That was so. Then for 3 months I was unemployed. I came back in September. Till Jan, I didn't get a job. I was applying to Naukri, Paukri, everywhere, right? But I had a very unique CV, so somehow I landed a job in IIFL as an investment banker. And the first meeting I had with my to-be boss, he said, "Can you give me a Can you make a presentation on any industry you like? Come to my office, show me that presentation, and if I like it, I will hire you." And you guys know for a fact I'm very good at presentations. So I made the best presentation possible, went there, showed him everything, did a proper financial analysis of each company, each industry. And this was for the analyst role. This was for the like the basic role, right? I did massive research and I came to him and I said, done, this is what it is. Instantly he saw it, he said, go to HR, get your offer letter and come to office on Monday. That's it, right? That was how I went from failing, right, in the first half, which was failing in first year, to actually learning so many things about life, and then reaching a point where I started working as an investment banker. And then when I went and started working as an investment banker, that's when I got exposed to the stock market back, right? First, I was in the crypto market when I was in UK. I was learning about the crypto market, so I was investing a lot at that point. But when I came back, I started connecting the dots like never before, right? And I'll tell you how I started connecting the dots like never before because I was sitting in an investment banking environment, right? And there's this, I don't know how many of you know this, but there's this amazing thing called the Bloomberg Terminal. Okay, it's called the Bloomberg Terminal. You might have seen all these movies, these investment bankers, they have this black screen with a lot of lines going up and down, right? This was at the age of, Anubhav was asking, this was when 2016, 2017 I came back. So, no, 2016 to 17 I was working there. So maybe 5 years ago, right? So there's a lot of these, Bloomberg terminal is like this terminal, which is very expensive. Obviously, I can't afford it. But if you open that, you have all the information in the world. You want any research about any stock in the world, you will get it. Not India, in the world, right? And I was like, boss, I love knowledge. I want to gain as much knowledge as possible. And I told my boss also, right? I told him I don't. The first big mistake I did. He asked me how much salary you want, and I said, I don't care about the salary. I want knowledge. Look at this. But very big dialogue I gave my boss saying, I don't want money. I'm here for the knowledge. Biggest mistake. Please never do that. Always say I'm here for the money also, and knowledge is an added bonus. Because then my boss said, okay, cool. You want knowledge? I give you more knowledge, less salary. And I said, okay, because I screwed up at that point. So lesson number one: never give that bullshit saying I'm here for knowledge and not for money. Right? Always take the money as well. Because then I realized I was underpaid like hell compared to other investment. It was good, but it was still in that level underpaid like hell, right? Uh, so I worked in investment banking for 1 year, had a great team. I had a lot of stupid questions. And I tell you what my day-to-day life was. Okay, a lot of people who wanted to know what my day-to-day life was as an investment banker, right? I was supposed to reach office at 9:30 a.m. every morning, but I'm always late, fashionably. So I used to reach office by 9:45, get abused by my boss every day, saying that 9:45. What is this? Again, 15 minutes late. Then I have to go to the Bloomberg terminal and print out this massive sheet for my boss every day. Every market day, I have to print out a massive sheet that has all the banking stocks on it. Okay, and in the banking stocks, it has all the ratios of each banking stocks and how they've moved in the past, automatically printed out from the Bloomberg terminal. So I used to do this every day, and obviously I have to read it and check it if it is right and I'm not screwed up on anything. Because even if there's one mistake, he will understand it and he will shout at me. So imagine I used to go through each and every bank in India which is listed, right? I should go through the public sector banks, the bank NBFCs, everything, and I should check all that information, right? And then I realized, okay, wow, this is great. I did that, and then I used to be every day. My work was going through thousands of business models, okay, thousands of PowerPoint presentations and Excel sheets, because we used to get so many companies who came and said, you know what, take us IPO, or get us funding. So my job was to go through that presentation, make better presentation because they give a very bad presentation. I have to convert it and make it a beautiful presentation. So I used to go through in a month maybe at least 30 different business models. Right now, just imagine the knowledge I was feeding into my brain at that young age, right? Which was I was very hungry for knowledge, massive knowledge in my brain. I was getting so much information, so many different business models, all that happened. And then I think after the year, I realized, okay, you know what? I have learned all I could. At that point, I met Varun, and then we said, okay, let's start something together. And then I shifted to Bangalore. That was also a very difficult task because I was in Bombay, and I had to go to Bangalore to start Avalon. And my dad said, no, 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 you have to work for 3 years minimum. You need like work experience before you do a startup. So my dad's main, obviously he's scared for me, right? He was like, how can you go to a startup? You need some work experience. If you don't have work experience, you will go and fail. Right? And he's like, what is your business model for Avalon? I said, I have no idea what business model it is. We're smart people, will figure out something. And that is how that journey started in 2017 when I came to Bangalore. With no agenda, no idea what a startup life is. I actually had to fight with my dad to even come here because my dad is like, you can't go, you have to sit here, don't leave your job, do this job for three years, right? He wanted me to do the job for 3 years. I just came after 2 days and said, you know what, I've just put in my papers, I've resigned. So I am going whether you like it or not, right? And he was very pissed, obviously. He's like, how can you leave an investment banking job and go do a startup, right? With no idea, at least have an idea of a startup. So yeah, finished all of that, came to Bangalore, started Avalon Labs, and then now the rest is history. And I'm sitting here after 2.5, 3 years, 4 years almost of Avalon Labs, sitting here with Scenes app, which is doing really, really well, and connecting the dots. So now you know from 2012 to 2021, I've given you connecting the dots story, right? So that is why I believe so much in connecting the dots because any point of that entire journey from the last 8 years, I wouldn't move a single piece, right? Wouldn't move a single piece from that. Because if I moved anything or if I manipulated anything from that entire journey, right, in the last 9 years, then I wouldn't be what I am today, right? So that is why I believe in connecting the dots so much. It's not only me, right? I'm pretty sure everyone, every one of your, I mean, even you guys, right, would have the same kind of stories. Right? I'm not saying my show is very unique, but if you guys look at your life as well and you start connecting the dots, take the time today, take like 10 minutes and just think, if I could change something in my life in the past, would I actually go and change it if I give it that power? Or would you be like, no, jitna hua hai abhi tak, let it happen because I needed each and everything I learned a little more, right? So same way, even for me, even for you guys, everything, whatever has come up till now, has led you up to this point, and that is why you're so mature, or that is why you're in this situation right now. But now I'll tell you the next thing, right? Now I'll tell you what keeps me excited now. If I have connected the dots for so long in the past, which is great, now I'm obsessed with connecting the dots in the future, right? Now, till now, I've connected the dots and I'm like, mind blowing, this is amazing, awesome, this is great. But now I'm obsessed with how can I connect the dots in future? What will happen in the future? Can I predict some probable outcomes, right? So then I start questioning a lot of things, right? Okay, if it is an electric vehicle play that is going to happen in the future, who's going to win, right? Let me try connecting the dots. And I keep trying to find out, okay, this pattern hits that pattern. If this happens, maybe that will happen. And all this might happen. Nothing can happen. There's a high possibility it will all be zero, right? But this is what it is. This is what it is, right? So that is the entire journey from connecting the dots. And I'm pretty sure you guys have interesting connecting the dot stories as well. And when I met all these founders that I was interviewing, right, for the podcast, they also had some insane amount of connecting the dot story. Like when they started trading at the age of 18, and how they failed in a few startups, and each of that failure taught them something or the other in life. And now they're in a successful startup that is doing really well. right? So if you think my story was exciting, wait for the podcast because there are so many more stories coming your way, and which has blown my mind as well, right? There's literally one podcast where I'm like, dude, you have actually put me into deep thought because this is insane, right? So yeah, Whew. That's what the entire story was. Okay, almost time up also. Chalo, nice. How was the story, guys? Did you guys enjoy? I'm gonna take a small water break. Did you guys enjoy the story? By the way, everything's true. Nothing was over exaggerated because that's life. I keep thinking sometime if there's a movie on me, I think it'll be really nice, no? But then everyone thinks there should be a movie on them, so it's fine. It's not an issue. Yeah. So this podcast will come soon. I'll be announcing it more very soon. I've shot 3 videos. I am editing more. Okay. I am putting actually Martin's editing, not me. I don't edit. So Martin's editing a lot of this. So as soon as Martin finishes editing, I think it'll be done and ready for uh, for upload, right? But yeah, it's gonna be on that. And yeah, everything else is back to normal. Cool. Was that good? Awesome. Good storytelling session, right? Okay, so I was thinking one more thing, right? I was thinking that let's make this a weekly routine. Every Saturday I'll come at 7 p.m. Is that okay? I was thinking every Saturday I'll come at 7 p.m. because it's nice to interact with a lot of people. Because kya hota hai, you know what? When I do it on scenes, I can't see you guys. Obviously, you can hear me, but I can't see the reaction that easily. So Monday to Friday, I'm anyway on Avalon Scenes. You can download it. I'll be there at 4:30. If not 4:30, some other time. But I think 7 o'clock every Saturday. I think I should make it a point to come live and interact with you guys as well. Obviously, not every time. I'm not going to come and give you one story like this. I'm not a storyteller as such. But I'll keep getting interesting guys on the live and maybe doing some collaboration, some sessions. Let's see. Let's see how it'll work. Awesome. Nice. Okay. Oh, my phone almost fell down. Okay, so I'll do one thing. I have like what max another 10 minutes left in this session. So let me take one more person on stage quickly. The last 10 minutes. So I can take one person before this live automatically switches off. Cool. Awesome. Oh shit. Don't fall down. Okay, I think I just, oh yeah. I'm going to take one person on stage. Okay, actually, who wants to come on stage? You can actually put in the chat as well. So it's easier for me to search and find. Or else I keep accepting people, nobody shows up, and then it's really sad. Okay. What do you use on Pi Network? Dude, it's a little weird, man, Pi Network, to be honest. It looks like an MLM kind of a scheme. So I don't understand it so clearly. But let's see. I mean, because I'll tell you why. Because as soon as I open the app and it says, earn your Pi, um, it shows me some ads, and that ads is not very interesting to look at, right? So I don't know how good or bad it is. Okay, let me see if I can take someone on stage. Why is my phone falling? Yeah, I'll save the live. Don't worry. I'm looking at a wall. This is you. I don't think Sahil was prepared for this. Okay, okay, let me just, I would like to join. Okay, Rishabh Singh Bhatia. Okay, I'll take you because I don't have time. This live will shut down quite instantly. So I'll take Rishabh Singh Bhatia and I have to find where you are also. I hope you have requested to speak, Rishabh. It's not like I can automatically take you up on stage. You have to request to speak. Uh, okay, man, I can't see you. Kunal Chowdhury says me. Nutshell art. Okay. Nutshell art I can see. Okay. Kunal, put one DP, man. I mean, if there's no display picture on Instagram, I get a little worried to take them on stage because it looks a little weird, no? That's why. Hey, man.
Hey,
Where are you,
hey,
Kunal? Art, graphic art.
yeah. So thanks, man. I just I got a broad thinking about the business models and stuff like that today. I had no idea. Like, I was like thinking, like, if you're gonna start a business, you just have to be creative. Like, you don't have to like get inspiration or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, I've been switching my hobbies. Like for the past 2 years, I've been confused a lot. So for few, like my degree and stuff, it's like totally unexpected. I
Hmm.
never wanted to do any business or anything like that.
Hmm.
But due to circumstances, I had to take up BBA. I mean, like now, yeah, I mean, I see some possibilities in that. So, like, I just wanted to ask, like, how do you like start up, like, when you're gonna start something, with what are you going to start with, like research or anything like that? Like, how do you start up the process?
See, the most important thing before research is basically you need to have a team, right? Like-minded people. Let's not call it a team, but you need to have like-minded people around you who are passionate about solving the same situation with you together, right? Everything else you'll figure out because all that research you can sit together, do research, all that is fine, right? But everything with respect to finding the like-minded people, that'll take the most amount of time. And those like-minded people have to be good also. They can't be bad people, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So that is why I think you should more focus on how can I find people who like what I want to do, or might like what I am interested in. So that is something I think your prime focus should be at.
Okay. So I have this plan, like, as you told, connecting the dots, right? So I was like thinking something similar like that, like, but it's related to service and entertainment.
Hmm.
So right? Like musicians don't get paid very well through Spotify,
Yes.
right? So I just
Yes.
wanted to take up that space, but with crypto involved, like with blockchain.
So you want to pay musicians with cryptocurrency.
Yeah, and I want them to connect with their promoters and the graphic and whatever required in one particular stage. And now you can see like people use their music on reels and they don't get paid, right? So I just want to bring all this into one single platform. So yeah, I mean, I've started like I like when I got this idea, I just like thought, okay, we can do something like no. So I just started coding and stuff. Like I'm getting more serious into this stuff, right? Like graphics and like I wanted to do graphics as a part time. So
No,
yeah,
I
I
think I
mean,
see what I see only one problem here. The idea is great, basically trying to giving a monetization element to people who aren't getting paid well, even after they do really well, right? Which is great work, great music, and it's also a very close-knit environment because yeah, like for example, in art, now you have NFTs where they can monetize and make money, right? But for music, um, usually 99% of the time it gets pirated, right? Almost
yeah,
every single time, or licensed. Now, if I'm a musician and I'm not making a lot of money, but I have great music, great talent, right? I wouldn't want Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Firstly, I'll tell you why. Because it is not stable at all, right?
yeah,
Today, I would have sold, assume I would have sold something for 1,000 rupees, right? I would have sold one of my songs for say 1,000 rupees, some amount of Bitcoin. That Bitcoin fell by 40%. Right now, my
yeah,
1,000 rupees is 600 rupees. I'll be like, bro,
yeah,
just give me money, just give me 1,000 rupees in notes, and that is fine. Because the max I would lose in a year if I keep that note is 6% on inflation. That's it, right? But
yeah.
I wouldn't want cryptocurrency. So the idea of helping a community monetize is great, correct? But the idea of giving them cryptocurrency, not that great.
Yeah, but
That's what I
yeah,
mean.
we can, I guess, like, yeah. So the thing is, like, we can come up with two models, right? Like, you can pay them with crypto, or they can like choose alternative like cash, like that. I'm planning.
Yeah, let the marketplace decide, no, whether they want to give you crypto. You don't give. As a platform, you should be a ghost, right?
Yeah,
Someone I'm coming putting in a song and I say I want 3,000 rupees for this, and you're like, I can't give you 3,000, but can I give you 0.2 ether? I'll be like, cool, this is my ether address, give it to me. Then it's fine because I'm the one choosing what I want to take. Or I'll be like, dude, I don't want your Ethereum, I want cash. That's also fine.
yeah. So yeah, like I, I have no idea like how blockchain works. I mean, I know that, but I'm not
Yeah.
finding like-minded people. I
So
mean,
find
even on the
like-minded people. There are so many blockchain groups online, Telegram groups, WhatsApp groups, Discord groups. There's some people on scenes also talking about blockchain. Get yourself plugged into that and start doing your own research as well. Then you'll
yeah,
learn.
mhm. And
Okay?
yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot. And I just wanted to tell that, I was just browsing through my reels and stuff, and then I found you like giving financial advice, and from then I
You
started
found me in
following
reels. I don't
it.
do reels, bro. I think you have
I
me
mean,
mistaken
the
for someone else.
IPTVs and some posts.
Yeah. Okay. No, no, I
Just
don't do
before
reels.
it was
That's my
like
friend
the
Raj
separate.
Saman who does
Now
reels, not me.
yeah, now it has become separate, right? Reels become separate. So yeah, got confused.
Yeah.
Thanks a
Yeah,
lot,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
You will have to exit by yourself. I still don't know how this mechanism works.
Okay.
I should really Google this out. How to put someone out of your life. Every time I click on that X button on top, it says shut down the entire life. Okay, guys, that's my time for tonight. Let me just check. Yeah, it's 7:58. That's my time for tonight. Uh, hope you guys liked it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But I'm very excited for Connecting the Dots podcast. Lot of knowledge coming your way. So yeah, excited. I'll share this live as well. So for all the people who are asking, will you share it? I will share it. Don't worry about that. Okay. See you. Have a great weekend. Relax. Have fun. Enjoy because on Monday onwards, you guys are going back to work. So have fun with that as well. Yeah. Awesome. Bye. See you.